M3, that's the man, Joe Skipper from Great Britain.
For me, this is like the championship final of a competition. I have to have a good race there if I want to do well in the series. All right, guys, back from Cairns, just arrived this morning, 11 a.m. It's currently coming up to 4 p.m, so I've been back 5 hours. I've had a little bit of time to reflect since the race on how I think my performance went, what I think I could have improved on. So I'll go back to the race and I'll just talk you through it, and then I'll come up with a few things that I think, how I felt it went, and what I think I could do better next time. So for me, the swim started off and it was about probably an 80 to 100 metre straight out to the first buoy. It was a beach start. I got an okay start running into the water. I'm trying to think who I was behind. I can't remember who I was behind off the top of my head, but I know they were a decent swimmer because I remember lining up next to them at the start. Anyway, got to the first buoy in about 5th place, which was absolutely awesome, literally right towards the front. I could see the kayak right in front and I felt great. And then we turned right and I think we had about 350 metres to the next buoy, because I measured all this the day before, so I had a rough idea of how far it would be to the first buoy and then how far to the second buoy, just to, in my head, know how long to keep the pressure on before, I thought it would settle down. And after the first buoy, I had like people swim on top of me and like swim into me, so I was trying to do a stroke and then I'd completely lose it. And I don't know what it is about that, but when people seem to do that to me, it just like seems to put me in the red so much that I just then cannot put any power into my swimming, and I find myself going backwards. It's like, I really wish in hindsight that when I felt people doing this, that I kind of made a beeline a bit to the right, just got out of the way, swam so I could swim my own stroke, and then hopefully when it settles down a bit, just jump in, because I'm sure I could have been in that group that swam 50 minutes had I not just been completely ruined from people swimming over the top of me and hitting my arms. Anyway, it is what it is, and by the time we got to the first buoy, which was after 450 metres of total swimming, I found myself on someone's feet who let the gap go to the group in front, tried to close it, couldn't close it, so ended up swimming completely solo. I think I must have dropped him when I tried to close it, and literally came in completely in no man's land, 52.50. The next group in front of me where I needed to be, that was where Mike Phillips was, Matt Burton, who ended up winning it, and a few of the other people were just in front of that, slightly like 30, 40 seconds in front of that group. So that was where I really needed to be. They were 2 minutes ahead of me. Andy Horsfall-Turner, Josh Amberger and them were 46.30 or 40-ish, something like that. So they were miles ahead. They were about another further 3.5 minutes ahead of that group. So I really should have been in the 50-minute group, and I feel like I'm definitely fit enough to do that swim-wise. But I just need to kind of not find myself getting ruined by the people at the start. But anyway, got out after 52 something and thought there's no point me smashing it at the start of the ride, because I felt like I was too far behind. I wasn't really going to bridge up to people by going really hard for the first 30, 40 minutes, and I could just end up losing a lot of energy. So I kind of just thought, keep aero, ride at a nice pace, and save something for the last hour when you can really put a lot of time into people, because they'll fade and you could probably negative split it in terms of power, and while everyone else is fading and putting out less power, you'll put out more power, and it will be a massive difference in time. So there could be a lot of time taken out of people in the last 40-50k, which is pretty much what I did, to be honest. Kind of just rode at like 285 watts I think on the power meter that I've got now, and then in the last hour I last 50k, 60k, I had some people sat behind me, and I thought I'm just going to put a bit of a surge in to get away from them, and if they do come with me, they'll have to work very hard, and then I'll keep pushing and try and make a move for the lead group. At that point, I got a time split on them, and they were about 4 minutes ahead, but I ended up closing that gap with about 8k's to go, and ended up catching them. Obviously Matt Burton was still ahead. He was about 5 minutes ahead up the road, but ended up coming into transition in 3rd place, just behind Mike Phillips and just ahead of the group. Pretty uneventful ride, to be honest, just by myself all day until the last 8k where I caught them, and then just thought, when I caught them, the pace felt so slow, I was going to sit in behind them, but I think everyone was saving themselves for the run, so I ended up going straight past them, putting a little bit of, I wouldn't even say an effort in, but it must have seemed like it compared to how easy they were taking it, and just managed to get a little bit of a buffer, but they kind of caught me coming into transition, so as I was coming into transition, in my head, I'm actually thinking, oh God, I think I can win this. Like I thought Matt up front would probably lose 5 minutes. I envisaged him running slow after 30k. He didn't, so fair play to him. He totally deserved it, but that's what I thought in my head. But anyway, I thought worst case scenario, I'd make the podium because I didn't really feel like I'd pushed the bike that hard. It felt like about a 6 or a 7 out of 10 effort. But started the run, had a little bit of twinges of cramp in my quads. I'll go into what I think that might have been later. But anyway, it went after about 10k, and then from 10 to 20k I hit my fastest run splits, and I thought this is great. I'm making time back into the guys that had just put a bit of time into me. I think I was in 6th place at this point, but 2nd to 6th was 1 minute 40, so it was anything to play for. And because I was picking it up, I think at one point I ended up taking 10 seconds out from splits that I got from people on the road out of Braden Curry.
And that is Joe Skipper, and he looks great. He looks as strong as he always does. He gives a little bark into the camera.
That was when I was running my best, and because I knocked the pace down to 340k pace for quite a few of the kilometres between 10 and 20, and thought to myself, right, this is where you can really start to take time out of people if you keep at the same speed for the next 10k, which would have took it up to 30k, and then from 30 to 40k really put the effort up, which would probably be slowing down a bit anyway, but you'd be slowing down less than the others. That's what I thought. But it didn't really happen like that, to be honest. From 20 to 30k I slowed a little bit, about 10 seconds a kilometre, but from 30 to 40k my legs were just totally gone, like the muscle soreness, and this was nothing to do with cramp at this point. This was just pure muscle soreness. Every step flipping hurt, like I was taking it, it felt like I was getting dead legged or hit with a hammer, and in the end lost the place. Well, it was weird because I overtook oh God, I'm trying to think what his name is now. The name escapes me, but I overtook someone for 5th place, but then lost 5th place, and got overtaken by Tristan Olai, who ended up getting the last Kona spot, and he got me about 8k to go. Didn't really have any response to it, to be honest. My legs were just so sore that it felt like it was just a slog to get to the finish. So I came through in 6th place, which I would like to have got a better position, but in reflection, well, to be honest, I would like to have got a better position, but I'm glad that I didn't have a shocker and ended up walking or something bad happened. I'm glad that I just managed to get a pretty solid result and something to build on, something to take some good positives from, because it's been a long while since I last had a good result. I think the last one was July when I won Lake Placid. Then obviously in Nice had a lot of issues, and then wasn't able to do one after Nice because of a medical issue that stopped the last race of the year, which when I was going to race Florida. So it's the longest I've gone without doing an Ironman since I started doing them in 2012. So I definitely needed one to kind of get back into the swing of things. And a few of the things that when I've had a chance to look back on, I think I could have done with taking more salts. I don't normally take any extra tablets or anything, but I didn't really have it. When I look at the nutrition I was taking, there wasn't very much at all in there. And I did take some salt tablets, but looking at what I've taken in other races, I think it was definitely on the low side. And I think that might have been the few of the twinges in cramp that I had, but because I felt that at the start of the run, I took electrolytes at every single aid station and it did go away. So I think I kind of got on top of that, but that's definitely something to bear in mind for the next one. I don't need a massive amount of salts, like I'm a very low salt sweater, but I definitely need a bit more than what I had. And then secondly, in terms of the muscle soreness, I think I definitely need to do a bit more of a longer run. It was something that I hadn't been doing, and I'd been doing more of a double threshold, which I think has worked very well for the halves. I've been running some of my quickest times for the halves, but you don't really get the muscle soreness in a half because it's gone in 70 minutes. So, you get to 45, 50 minutes and you're on the last lap, you're looking for the last 15, 20 minutes, so it's not really an issue. But in the Ironman, after about, I guess, an hour and 40, hour and 50 minutes was when the muscle soreness started coming in, and that really did impact me. Aerobically, I was fine, but the muscle soreness was what was really slowing me down, and I think doing a few longer runs would help. They don't have to be that long, hour 30, hour 40 minutes. If you feel good, bit of a pickup, which is what I used to do, so I'll go back to doing doing them every week. And a big point is making sure that I use some shoes with a lot less cushioning. So I think from seeing what other pros were like in this and from my own experience in this race with the muscle soreness, I think that modern day shoes have got so good and so soft that you can do sessions or even runs and you don't have any soreness in your legs, which is great for aerobic benefits and cardiovascular benefits. But in terms of getting your legs robustness and strong and used to the impact and the pounding that you get in a marathon, in an Ironman, you're not getting that so much. Whereas I remember before, you do some long runs and sessions and your legs would feel a bit sore afterwards, which obviously affects the total volume that you can do, but it does get them strong. And then, so I'm going to go back to using some training shoes that are not as good as the new, foam that you get for some of my sessions. So for the long run, one of my sessions a week where I'm doing some faster speed work, and definitely for the steadier runs, and trying to avoid some of the more softer, nicer foam, because I think it just doesn't get you lose some of the adaptation because you don't get that muscle soreness. I think they're really good in certain aspects. If you want to get more volume in, you want to get more cardio gains. But if you want to get your legs strong, then you kind of need to really think about how much you use it. So that's definitely something that I'm going to do. And then when you get into an Ironman and you do use the nice foam and the carbon shoes as well, you're going to get an even bigger boost, and they're going to be softer, so that you should get way less, the impact should affect you way less. So that's definitely a massive point for me. And also tweak the training a little bit. It's not massive tweaks, but just going back to doing a bit more what I used to, because I have tweaked it in certain ways. And I think looking at what I was doing in 2022, 2023, or mainly 2022, it's going to go back a bit more towards that, because it seemed very successful, and I think that will keep me running a bit stronger in the at the end of an Ironman. So stay tuned. I've got 5 weeks now, or just under 5 weeks, got 4.5 weeks until Lake Placid. On Monday, I'm starting a really good 3-week training block for that, and then I'll have a week taper going into Ironman Lake Placid. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to pursue the Ironman Pro Series. I got about 4,380 points, roughly, something like that, from this race. Not great, not bad. I'm in 10th place though overall in the series, so if I have a good race in Lake Placid, that could put me into top 5, even top 3. So I'm going to do that race, and if that goes well, I will get a Kona spot, and then I'll be in Kona. If it doesn't go well, then I won't pursue the Ironman Pro Series, and I won't be in Kona. So it's just a simple view, really. Like, there's no point going to Kona if you can't qualify easily, because you're not going to be competitive in the big race. So if I qualify in Lake Placid and have a great race, then I'll go to Kona, because I should be competitive. If I don't, then honestly, I'll just cherry pick some races, look for some money, and try and make as much as I can. I'd like to be in Kona, but we'll see how Lake Placid goes. I'm confident I can have a good race there. I'll be going in as defending champion, so that's obviously a bit something to live up to, and knowing as well as a bit of a confidence booster that I have performed well on the course before. I actually think I might even have the record on that course. I'd have to check, but I might have the course record on there. So hopefully I can replicate that this year, and then that GT3 will be one step closer. No, but in all seriousness, thanks for all the support, guys, and just going to give it my all for the next 3 weeks, and hopefully can have a great race in Lake Placid. Appreciate all the support. I've had loads of it from everyone. A lot of people saying it was good to see me out there in Cairns and to have a solid race again after a long time. So I really appreciate all that, and hopefully I can do an even better one in 4 weeks' time.